Hey, you guys, this is Laura Franco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up, you guys.
I'm the Shine Today podcast varsity squad at Scott Ferguson, and we are here with my really good friend, Laura Franco. She is the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, fantastic company that really helps you get your story out there. She does everything from a holistic point of view. And we really dig into the holistic lifestyle about how it's so complete with body, soul, mind, and physical. So it's just, I picked up so many knowledge nuggets on here on how to live a little bit more in tune, a little bit more loosely, if you will, not taking things so seriously. And I know that you'll pick up some solid knowledge nuggets. And if you know anybody that's really looking to author a book or knows that they have a story they might need to get out, please share this with them, or let me make a warm introduction to my good friend, Laura DeFranco. And please like and smash the subscribe button, man. That would be fantastic. It helps my sponsors and affiliates. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Laura DeFranco from Brave Healer Productions. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I am blessed to bring on my really good friend, Laura DeFranco. I said it sexily, like she asked me to, but she is the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, an award-winning publisher for holistic health and wellness professionals. She spent 30 years in holistic therapy, has 14 years of training in the martial arts, and has authored 10 books. Her company has published over 55 Amazon best-selling books with a global, it's probably more than that now, by the way, with a global community of over 1,000 plus authors who are waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. And she can be found at bravehealer.com, which don't go there yet because I can't wait to just dig into the awesome mindset of my good friend Laura. And thank you so much for coming on, Laura. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, my favorite color is glitter sparkle.
Glitter sparkle? So that's like any color with some glitter?
Exactly. Glitter. I love saying that too, because like I love all the colors. If you glitter it up, I'm good.
I love it. I see a lot of purple in your books too.
Purple, it would be the real answer to that question.
Yeah, it's royal and regal and very awesome. And so I didn't know you're in the martial arts. That's fantastic, as am I. That's beautiful. Great thing. But let's get to the roots of you. I know that you were on the left coast for a little bit and you ended up in DC. That's just the kind of the generic version. But let's get into how you went from like probably authoring a few books and now really taking people along with your journey of probably climbing up on 100 Amazon bestsellers. So let's hear about it. Let's hear about your journey.
Yeah, there are a couple of books. Really, the journey is about healing. It's that 30-year career in holistic physical therapy. It's like I knew I wanted to help people. And that was the foundation. And I was a writer. So like I started marrying those two things together and like the rest is history. I started publishing my own stuff and then I wanted to help other people. And that is what it's about for me right now.
Wow. But was there like a click in there that was like, dude, you know what? I'm a really good writer. What was it that says I can help people? Like I'd like to get deep into the brains and kind of see what that click was, what made it happen.
I went to a writing retreat and I walked in there thinking I was an okay writer and I walked out knowing I was a good writer.
Really?
And so shout out to Laura Munson, Haven Writing Retreat, because when I came back on the plane from that experience, I was like, oh, I can do this. And not only can I do it, but I love to do it.
Yeah.
And I want to help other people love it. Right. And I think everybody's a writer. Everyone's an artist. Everyone's a healer. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because one of my protocols as being a coach is like when people kind of get into like that moment where they're like, oh, I'm like, just throw up on your keyboard. Just put everything out there. No punctuation, no nothing. And when they're done, there's almost a book there, or at least an article to publish. Right. I mean, like you just said.
Oh, for sure.
Buddy is a writer. That's fantastic. So do you remember actually hitting publish on your first book or sending it off to somebody? And like, what was that feeling? What was the kind of feedback you got from it?
Well, you're making me think too of my journaling, which I've been doing since I was a teenager, right? So if you are an avid journaler and love that, then you've got books, probably multiple in your journals, but that was my story. Like I knew I wanted to write a book, but never kind of did it. And my son was 5.5 when we went and watched a Taekwondo class together.
Okay.
And so we left and I'm like, dude, you want to do this? And he looked up at me and he said, well, I'll do it if you do it, Mom. 6 years later, we earned our black belts together.
Nice.
And I wrote my first book.
Really?
And so the book that I thought I was going to write, I had no idea really. When I looked at my journals, because I had been journaling over those 6 years about the process and about being a mom and a healer and an entrepreneur and a martial art, right? And I looked in these books and I'm like, oh, it's right here.
Right.
So like all I got to do is pull out the pieces and organize it in a way that I want to help share not only my stories, but the lessons I was learning about mindset and peak performance and all the things.
Right. Yeah.
It was a pretty cool journey.
That's awesome that you said, okay, the journaling can lead to writing, and because it's there, and that you actually journal during that time of reaching the black belt. And that's cool. Do you and your son still practice Taekwondo?
He quit soon after the black belt achievement. Okay. I went on to earn my 3rd degree black belt. Wow. I trained over 14 years and I no longer practice, but martial arts, you practice for a lifetime and you practice up in your head.
Absolutely.
And, right. So it goes throughout your lifestyle. That indomitable spirit is one of the tenets. And I think that's like one of my superpowers.
Sure.
Is moving through life like that.
I love it. And even I've been told this twice, like I'm holding up the horn sign, squad, if you're watching, but if you're not watching, but that everything happens in here. And then my jiu-jitsu coach and also an officer I served under in the military in Iraq did the same thing. That everything's here. It's like right between your head, that everything starts there. And it's where everything can get bundled up and jumbled up, and kind of led to my coaching journey as well. So then let me ask you something. You work one-on-one with aspiring writers to get their book done?
I work one-on-one with people who need that coaching, but really the signature work that we are working on these days is a collaborative book. It's an expert community. And I really believe that we need all the voices and all the tools. Not one thing works for everybody, and not one thing works for that person every single time. So we need the toolkits. So I started gathering my healers together and saying things like, you guys are writers, like we need to share these tools. So yes, answer is yes. And these collaborations are really where it's at for me. It's absolutely my jam.
I love that you said my jam. That's beautiful. And what I'm hearing is like, I'm a big believer that balance is junk. Like, I don't believe in balance. I think you put 10 pounds on one side, 10 pounds on another, it's just equals 0, right? But like harmony. Okay. So harmony is like what I'm hearing in these collaboration books, right? Because when I coach, I'll say, okay, like your God or spiritual, I liken it to a jazz band, right? It might be the drums, right? Your personal growth might be the guitar, family might be the horns, and on, right? And if one of them's out of tune, then it kind of sounds like crap, right? But if you don't have to be Eddie Van Halen or John Bonham on the drum, you can just tune it up enough to level up to sound like a great ensemble. And so when you're bringing the collaborators together in the books, they handle the different pieces to holistically, because like holistic is all being. Like people hear holistic and they're like, ooh, shamans and stuff like that. And they're really not. It's just total health, right?
It's all of that.
There's
a lot of ways to talk about holistic, and being a physical therapist, of course, physical therapist.
Right.
What I learned right away, that it was body, mind, soul, spirit. It was not just physical. And if as a practitioner, I wasn't paying attention to the other pieces of that human, I was going to miss a piece. Right. So that's one thing to think about when you're thinking about holistic, but holistic and alternative. I hate to use the word alternative because there's science now.
Yeah.
And we can stop pretending that these things aren't completely intertwined.
Right.
We just need to begin to try and experiment and then follow what is working for us.
Yes.
And so, oh my gosh, the topic of holistic can be hours, right? Like, yeah,
Yes. I'm glad that you didn't use alternative, because a lot of the things that we're using now were considered alternative and like out there,
exactly.
right? I mean, even AI, like all this thing that's coming into AI, right? It's like when you and I were in school, when we were kids, our teachers would say, put your calculators away, right? Because that was AI. Yeah, people should know it was artificial intelligence. It could just do things and figure stuff out. Now it's just blown away. But a lot of that leveling up that's came through things with the body, through kinesiology, through different things. It's just what used to be alternative is now mainstream. So that's why I love that you don't shut anything out and you have an open mind to those things. That's beautiful. So then maybe if you're talking to writers or they come to you to pick your brain, what do you think that you use maybe some of your secret sauce to find out what their blind spots are?
Mm. You know, I've written 10 of my own solo books at this point, and so I kind of figured out the mistakes I was making in the beginning. And probably the biggest one that I want to share with people is you're writing this for a perfect ideal reader. There is somebody waiting to hear the message. But if you're not really thinking about those people and you're just like, I'm going to write this book because it's all about me and I'm interested in it. And this is really important.
Okay.
And the world needs to hit. Well, do they?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about your reader? Are you really connecting with who they are, what they need to feel right now, the message they need? And that's
so good.
Number one.
Absolutely friggin' love that you said that, because a lot of podcasters, they see my itty bit micro influencing success, right? With it, and they'll be like, oh, and I'm like, dude, build your avatar. Who's listening to your show? Build it and build the show around them. Right. And that's, I was told you off mic, like, listen, someone's getting in their car right now, driving to work and listening to my good friend Laura, like help them level up and spark ideas in their brain. I love that you say really zone in on it, while still kind of staying loose though, like still be yourself, but really zone in on that writer, correct? Because you want them to be authentic, correct?
Exactly. You have to be your full-on self. We're talking about books. We're talking about business. We're talking about anything you create with that in mind. But then, yes, being your full-on authentic self. Don't try to be what you think other people need you to be, but you need to think about what's in it for them. What are they wanting in life?
That's awesome. So what do you see? Like, okay, maybe you're talking to an aspiring writer. Okay, Laura, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
What should I do before I publish my book?
Okay.
Because I made so many mistakes. I don't call them mistakes anymore. These are stepping stones. I love that I learned lessons in the beginning, right? I love to pay the info forward too.
Yeah.
So if you're going to write a book, you're going to have a business, whether you have a formal business or not. And people don't take it seriously. Oh, I'm just going to be a writer. I'm just going to write my book. You need an email list. You need a platform. You need a community. You need to have people know, love, and trust you before you publish that book if you want it to be more successful. And so that's the question. What should I do before I publish this? I love to talk about that.
Yes, build a tribe. And people say, well, how did you do it? I'm like, dude, I got involved with things that interest me and reach out to people and just be like, and join their tribe. And then ask them, say, I join yours. Just be humble. Humility goes a long way. So people will be like, Fergie, can you just opt in? Absolutely, I'll opt in. Because I see them opening my emails with stuff. I want to help. I want to pay it forward. Give until it hurts so good. That's beautiful, man. So how about, have you ever seen the movie Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Yeah? Let's get
in that
DeLorean with Marty, right? McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Laura. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not to change her journey, because your journey is absolutely freaking awesome, right? But maybe to help her shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker. What might you drop on her?
Wow. I wish that 22-year-old
You
needed a
wish you could
few.
go back and just be like, bam. Love it.
Exactly. It's like, all right, here's what you need to know. The one that came to my mind when you asked is don't take things personally. Stop judging. Get your awareness on. And I was reacting to most of my life back then instead of responding. I didn't have an awareness practice. I was so caught up in what everybody else was saying and what they were probably thinking.
You and I,
you,
man.
the secret, right? No one's thinking about you. Like, it's really not like that. But
Yeah.
man, I wish, right? Again, I wish.
You're like my sister from another mister, man. It's like so crazy because like I made since 2009, my whole journey's documented on Oprah and like everything else. Like since 2009, I've made 2 New Year's resolutions every year. One is to make someone smile every day. And 2, unless I've hurt you, judged you, owe you, or disrespect you, I don't care what you think about me. I don't care. If I did one of those 4 things, I'll apologize profusely, right? And ask for forgiveness. If you decide to, that's great. But if I didn't, I don't care. And like you said, don't take things too personally. And I'll say I picked it up from a movie back in 2000, one of Ryan Reynolds' first movies. It was called Van Wilder. It's actually kind of funny, right? But he says, don't take life too seriously. We're not making it out alive, right? And it's like
Yeah.
so true. It's fantastic. So then how do you want Laura's dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line, right? But how do you want your dash remembered?
She measured her success in terms of how much fun she was having. Like, it's this other piece that you made me think of a minute ago when you were talking about that I would add to the 22-year-old. It's like, girl, you got to have more fun. Like, and it's what you said about dying. Because I remember listening to a podcast and they were talking about 1,000 Mondays. And the idea was like how many Mondays you have left in your life to live. And a little light bulb went off in me again. Like, I like these reminders. I like these reminders to live life, to love hard, to have fun, to laugh more, because we're not getting out of it. You know?
I love it. And I love that you've also kind of, like, I live a plus equals minus kind of life, like every day. Like, I find someone above me, the plus that I want to emulate, that I want to just kind of learn from, right? And then people like the equals is like you and I are kind of rapping. We're just bouncing stuff off each other. And then I can see you, like myself, like sending the elevator down, right? The minus, like to pull them up to you. Am I reading you right? Do you love to do that?
You're speaking an energetic language in when I think about it.
Sure.
Where it's about the vibe. And if you're showing up there, I try not to think about it as higher or lower because we're all right here,
Sure.
but we're all over the place in terms of the frequency of vibration we are showing up with, that positivity, that what's possible here, what else is possible.
Yes.
And even like saying that raises my vibe a couple of notches because it pulls me out of that pit if I've gotten stuck down there doubting or worrying or in fear or whatever. Yeah, I love to pull people up.
Yes.
Or in or whatever, however you want to say it.
Right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's important.
Love that. Love that. A tribe is so important. And the more we can build with that love and that laughter, it just makes it a better community. That's fantastic. So what do you think people might misunderstand the most about you, about Laura?
What might they misunderstand about me? I think they can take pieces for granted sometimes in terms of I am a overachieving, recovering perfectionist, massively. Just achievement was my drug of choice growing up, right?
Sure.
And so I think sometimes people look at that and they think certain things that aren't any of my business about who I am. But I've done work to ground and center myself in a place that feels really great. So sometimes I think people don't see the work I've done.
Love it.
They see the achiever, but they don't see the personal development, the decades worth of awareness practice and mindset work and
Right.
all those things, right? I don't know. I like people to understand that I've devoted my life to that practice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just about writing another book.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't see the hours. Like in Taekwondo, you didn't become a black belt by saying, "Oh, here you practice one kick 10,000 times," right? Like Bruce Lee would say, right? And I've blessed you coach professional athletes, Major League Baseball, PGA Tour golfers, and stuff. And it's like, dude, you don't see them beating 1,000 balls every day. They don't see the work that goes on behind the scenes. So you might have already answered this, but if people really knew Laura, they would know what?
Hmm. Well, I like this question, and I don't often pull the blank, but I am right now. It's like this space of, I don't know. Ask me again.
If people really knew Laura, what would they know? If you really knew me, what would you know about me?
You would know that I wake up every day in this amazing passion and purpose. It's what fuels my interactions with people, including my inner circle and family. And you'd know that I want to talk about deep things, life, death, sex, the things that we're all afraid to talk about.
Yes.
You would know that I'm vulnerable when I go there, and I want to do it, and that sometimes I'm an introvert and afraid to speak up, even though here I am on a podcast, you know?
Right. And people,
Yeah.
that's awesome because people look at me and my nickname on stage is the Boomer because I can carry 300 people without a mic if I had to, right? So, but what people also are like, I saw you at the hotel restaurant sitting by yourself. I'm an introvert, dude. Like I
Totally.
love me, like my time. What I'm
Yes.
saying,
Me
but
too. Yeah.
like you, like I'm going to say something that Steve Farber said that you do what you love in the service of people that love what you do, right? Like you love to teach people, and people see that. And that's why people are attracted to you. I know I am. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And that you go deep. So with that being said, like what is Laura's definition of a life well lived?
I think to not be afraid to love more in all of the ways that we might think about it, to actually say the words, to give the hugs, to reach out to people that have done amazing things for you and express yourself, even though you might feel like you sound silly.
Yes.
I think really to love more. I mean, isn't it always going to be about that in the end,
Yes.
to feel good about that and
Yes.
to give back and show up with your full on heart, you know? I
That's
think it's it. I mean,
yeah.
maybe it sounds corny to say it again, right? We said, but I think we need to repeat it and say it out loud a lot. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what this is about. Yeah.
100%. And the energy would just become so much better. It'd be so much more, less competition and more collaboration and synergy and so
Oh
many
yeah.
things. That's beautiful. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back in Miss Laura. You and I'm going to make it a point because I know I'm speaking in DC twice in 2024. I've got to hook up with you for a coffee or just pick your brain, just pick each other's brain, just talk, right? And some of these questions, we will probably talk about 15, 20 minutes. But today, you have 5 seconds to answer them, and they can all be answered that way. I promise. You ready to level up?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right, Laura, what is the best leveling up advice Laura's ever received?
Ooh, to act with the feeling of fear.
Oh, yeah, do it scared. Love it. Love it. So other than, no, share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I'm an early bird and I get up at probably 5 a.m. every
Beautiful.
day and set my miracle morning
Love
first
it.
thing.
Love it. So you see me walking down the street. This is a good question for you with regards to your profession here. But you see me kind of walking in or a networking event or somewhere, and you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Other than anything you've authored, what book might you recommend to me to help me like pull me out of my doldrums and level me up?
It's a hard one for an author
I know,
and a
right?
reader. You have all day for this? No, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Like, The Big Leap was another level awareness book for me. I loved that book.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And like Steve Farber wrote The Radical Leap, and he's like someone that I follow. That's awesome. So yeah, Donnie, put that in the show notes, please. Thank you. Awesome. Let your most commonly used emoji when you text.
Oh, the rolling eyes.
Nicknames growing up?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me say these. Ooch.
Shoot.
Yeah, it was a kid nickname like my parents had for me. Lady Di.
Okay. All
That's
right.
my D Franco Di, right?
Yeah.
Lady Di.
Love it.
Yeah, and Laura Lightning Bolt DeFranco was the most recent
I love
one.
it. I love it. I love it. So give me a hidden talent or superpower that you have that no one knows about until now.
Oh, aside from being able to break boards with my feet, I think that's probably a
I'll
really
take
good...
that. I'll stay away from that
Okay.
one. Love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Yay. Headline for your life.
Headline for my life?
Yeah.
Headline for my life. Oh my gosh. What else is possible?
Love it. That's beautiful. That's enough. Love it. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Double chocolate chip.
Love it. And so there's a sandwich called the Lady Di Chooch. Build that sandwich for me. What's on it?
Oh my God. The sandwich has got salami and provolone, and it's got a little Kalmala olives in there. Definitely on sourdough.
Dude, you and I are besties for the rusty. This is awesome.
All right. Good.
Beautiful. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Oh, thanks for that question. The Inkwell serves DC youth with therapeutic writing programs. I love what they're doing.
Love it. Got that, brother? Okay, cool. We're going to throw that in the show notes as well. Beautiful. Last question. You can elaborate a little bit on this one, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I got to go with the disco. That's 70s, right? I mean, I remember the dance competition in my satin Sean Cassidy jacket. Like
Sean Cassidy, dude, remind me off camera. That's the first concert I ever went to, and I still have them. I have the ticket stubs in Cobo Arena in Detroit, dude.
Nice.
And that was my first run. Yeah, dude. It's like, he just came back.
Like, I did not.
He just dropped the song, like literally. And I reached out, and he's coming on my show. So I will definitely let when he comes on. So yeah, and it's so funny because we had a lazy Saturday, me and my lady Saturday, and we literally started the Travolta marathon, right? We started with Saturday Night Fever, then we went into that flop Staying Alive, but he was still Tony Manero in both of them. But I was just like, so and I was
exactly, see? Makes you want to do it.
Yeah, I was a kid, so I used to see them. And Susan's like 7 years older than me. So she kind of lived as a teenager during that time. She's like, yep, bell bottoms and butterflies, man. Let me tell you, that's funny. That's funny. So how can we find you, my friend?
Oh, come visit bravehealer.com.
That's an awesome URL, by the way. How long have you owned that?
Oh, a while, I guess.
Yeah,
since the beginning.
That's baller. That is an awesome URL. Like Thank Brave you. Healer, that's awesome. So, and also, I know that we talked about your kind of writer's retreat that you offer, and the link will be in the show notes, but tell us a little bit about that, please.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And we're doing these author journeys. What I want people to understand is they're going to have healing, writing, and publishing experiences. We're going to talk about the business of it. We're going to do everything together, you guys, and we're going to become published authors together in our collaborations.
That's awesome. They can go right to the link. Is there certain dates or is it? Okay.
May 15 to 19 in 24.
Oh, wow. Nice. So got that squad. Get down there in the show notes if you're aspiring. And again, I love that she didn't say, hey, I'm going to teach you to write. I mean, holistically putting you together, you'll probably leave the place a better person. So that's just fantastic. And if you can do me one last salad, Miss Laura, and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on?
Well, you were born, so you are worthy. Your message matters. What if the thing you're still a little afraid to write is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It is time to be brave.
Dude, that is awesome. In Squad, we have had just a fantastic conversation with my friend Laura Franco, and we covered all the bases, and that's what holistic does. She's a journey of healing. She wanted to help people, so she kind of married healing with writing, and she reminded us that journaling is writing. It can lead to a book, so save those. Journal every day. We all need the voices and the tools, and if we have a complete toolkit, we can bring it into completion. And that's kind of like holistically what we're talking about. We're talking about body, mind, soul, and spirit, not just physical. What she started out as a physical therapist, and then her mind was blown. It's like, wait a minute, there's so much more to that. And you're not writing for yourself. You have to build that avatar to write to, but be authentic while you're doing that. But again, don't just write, like, you save your diary for yourself, Squad. Like, there's people out there that need to hear your message, so nut up and put it in writing. And let me make a warm introduction to my good friend Laura and her team to maybe get you on that journey. And if you're working with kind of a publisher or someone like Laura, ask her, what should you start doing before you publish your book? There's those steps that are before. And she reminds us that don't take things too personally, and stop judging yourself and others, and learn to respond and not react, and take responsibility. Like we all know, responsibility, it's rooted in the word. It's the ability to respond, right? Respond, listen to respond, not to react. She reminded us of that. And measure your success like she does, and how much fun you have. Get out there, have fun. And she blew my mind and made me think, man, I'm 51 years old. Like, how many Mondays do I really have left in my life? How many beginnings of weeks, and how many that now I'm just going to start serving even more and more, because I want to be that microfluencer to really serve as many people that I can. She's remembered as an amazing person with passion and purpose, and that helping you. I believe that she's more interested in your story than she is in telling you hers, to be honest with you, because I had to really dig to get the stories out of her. And I know that they're in there, and that my friend Laura is planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of. And again, she does it for the intention, not the attention. You don't see her blasted everywhere, but you get into her books and stuff, they're really good. And get out there and express gratitude to people, especially if people need to hear it. I mean, be the message that matters. What you say may change someone's life. And if you put it in a book, you're immortal. It's out there. It's there forever. And that's what my good friend Laura does. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's absolutely stunning. She's earned her varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much, Laura, for coming on. I absolutely love your guts.
Scott, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.